Alright, y'all, welcome to Y'all Sports Pass Podcast West. I'm your host, Youth, and I know 2 days wait. This is being posted on game day. Of course, just minutes before all the games start. I've been very busy. So obviously I haven't had time to do this, so I'm going to try and make this quick and see what I can do within a matter of time, because all the games are going to start here in a few. I'm actually going to be staying at home and watching these games. I usually go to a game. I either have a Bearden. I was scheduled Bearden Horn Valley, but due to conflicts of scheduling, I had to stay home this week. But I'll be back posting on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then in highlights for Bearden football. So as I started with the first game, we're just going to do all of last week's games first. And see what happened to those games. In this instance, though, since the story of Oliver Springs, we're just going to cover last week's game and then this week's game all together. Obviously, 44-0 win over Wartburg Central. I see that as impressive. And then coming up in this Greenback, another team you can beat. I see Oliver Springs winning that game. Last week for William Blount, they faced off against Powell. They did not win the game. They lost 47-16 to Powell. Powell played pretty good. But that's all I have for William Blount this week. The Halls and William Blount game will be on the North Channel. So, obviously, that's out right now, so you can watch it. Next up, we're talk about South Doyle. Another trend where they're playing the North team this week at their place. But South Doyle was unfortunately not able to beat Harder. They lost, I believe, in overtime by a touchdown, 37-30. South Doyle is traveling the Dibs. You can check that out on the North Channel. But up next, we got Heritage, and it's not looking good for Heritage. The fact that they were up by 2 touchdowns against Anderson County, I genuinely thought Heritage was actually going to pull up a fight, until it turned out the final score was 63-19. AC just knows how to win, especially coming back by 2 scores. Heritage is at Fulton. So check that out on the North Channel. Up next, we'll talk about Bearden. I'm genuinely worried for them. 35-0 loss to Science Hill. This is not normal. And to say the least, this next game might be their final chance of a win this season. It's the honest, hard truth. But that team we're talking about next, for their game last week as well, is Horn Valley. They played Westridge. I think they lost 35-18. Horn Valley not looking so good in the away stance, but they're back in the home stance. Coming up against Bearden. And to say, this might be the only chance that Bearden gets to beat a team. And it's Horton Valley's first real chance since 2019. No, since 2018 of beating Bearden. Horton Valley has not beaten Bearden since 2018. And to say that this is the name of the week, I'm going to say this is the name of the week. Some prefer it as the Toilet Bowl, but I'm going to say this is the name of the week. Just as it has huge points of those teams' seasons. Horn Valley has not beaten Bearden in 7 years. Bearden's looking for their first win, and probably their only win this season, unless they do really well against Dobbs Bennett later on. But I'm going to say that Bearden will thrive. They will win this game. They did their first win of the season, and Horn Valley will have to wait another year to beat Bearden. Up next, we got Oak Ridge. Needless to say, they did very well on TV against Dobbs Bennett. No surprise they won by a blowout. At home, Dobbs Bennett had to travel, and it was a TV game, so Oak Ridge did Devin Henderson. But this is the first real test for Oak Ridge. Their first ever 6A district game. Cleveland, at Oak Ridge. Very anticipated day for Oak Ridge. Their first region game of the season. Looking forward to it, to say the least. It's very interesting to see how this game plays out. My opinion, I think with the hard travel Dobbs Bennett had to face, I think Cleveland will have to go through the same thing. And I think Oak Ridge will get their first 6A region win in their school's history. 6A, they were not in 6A back in the day. They had to be in some random district with Powell, Horn Valley back in the day. And then they moved over to 5A for a bit until moving back to 6A. So, yeah. Up next, we'll talk about Horns, and that's impressive. They beat Quinton. Final score 24-21. It may save Horns this season. They only won by 3, though. It is a team with terrible defense. And to say the least, Horns could have scored more. And now they're facing up against Powell. Obviously, a home name for Horns, so they have the advantage there for home field. But Powell's just not the better team. They're looking really good on offense. Like, Deuce Rogers is doing his thing, running the ball himself every time. So, to say the least, I think Powell is going to win this game. Horns back to their losing. But Horns is going to get some wins at some point. And I'm trying to fight for a playoff spot, too. Up next, we'll talk about Alcoa and West. No surprise there, Alcoa won by a blowout, 35-0 on TV. To say the least, that's the first time I've seen West lose like that at home in a long time. Now, it never usually happens, to say the least. Alcoa is a really good team, so no surprise they won by a blowout as well. But I'm surprised that ended 35-0. I thought it was going to be a score like 42-0 for Alcoa. Coming up next for Alcoa, though, they got Union County at home. I think this is probably going to be no surprise there. I think Alcoa will win this game. Maybe because Alcoa has state talent. And talent to win state championships at all levels of high school football. Except for Texas, Georgia, and California. But nevertheless to say, Alcoa is probably going to beat Union County by a blowout. While West is traveling over to Hamilton County. Now, just like Bearden, this is the first chance for a win for West. Is a region game. It's very exciting. And Hamilton County playing West is very rare. So Hamilton County used to be in Region 3 and all that stuff. Moving into Region 2 because Oak Ridge left. Obviously, very huge for Hamilton County. And facing off of this West, too. Needless to say, I have West winning their first game of the season here at Hamilton County. Me, as I think West is not a bad team. They just had hard scheduling. And they did play Bearden, so I think West will win. Up next, we'll talk about Maryville, as they beat Cleveland 44-0, I believe. Wow. Even traveling, too. It's pretty interesting how Maryville is doing well in these travel games, except for when they played Alcoa, as Alcoa is usually the best team in the state. In Knoxville-wise, they're not the best in the state. That goes about Hawley and Ensworth. Ensworth beat Hawley, so that explains why I mentioned Ensworth. But then again, Maryville has played very good this season. They beat Bearden by a lot, and then they beat Cleveland by a lot at their place. Those are travel games, too. Maryville blowing out Cleveland and Bearden at their places, huge. However, it's not the same for Farragut, as they lost to Bradley 24-0, I believe, at Farragut. Obviously, a disappointment for Farragut. They still have yet to win this season. Surprisingly, all West, Bearden, and Farragut have not won any game yet this season. They're usually the teams to beat in West Knoxville. And now it's Hardin Valley. What happened there? I'm going to say the same thing with Horns. Horns also has wins. But Hardin Valley and Horns being the only teams who have won in West Knoxville just shows Knox County might be weak this year. And to say that this is Farragut's first chance at a win this season just shows it's not really. Bradley was their first chance for a win. They blew it. And they're facing all that Maryville. Yeah, not going to go well for Farragut. I know that Farragut beat Maryville at Maryville 2 years ago. But that was when Maryville was pretty much injured. They had to, rest their guys and all that stuff. And then they lost by a field goal. As a Farragut really wanted to make the playoffs. Didn't happen, but Farragut playing at Maryville. Maryville's gonna win. Maryville's probably gonna blow out Farragut. I mean, it's not gonna be the same game as 2 years ago. And I know Farragut played well in this Maryville at their home stadium last year, but then again, that was the last week of the season, and Maryville had already clinched the division by then, so I think it's very clear Maryville will blow out Farragut this time. Anyways, this is the All Sports Pass Podcast West. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And go ahead and subscribe to the North channel as well. It will help us out. Tennessee video coming tomorrow morning. We got UAB. I'll try and see if I can get that done in the morning. As I don't know when Tennessee and UAB starts, I'll have to check. Anyways, your host, Youth, is signing out.